Adding point text. Now that you have been introduced to some of the main factors when modifying and designing a graphic, let's create a new one. You will create a new title to help promote a tourist destination. Open the sequence 02 Cliff. Position the timeline playhead at the beginning of the sequence and select the Type tool. Click in the Program Monitor and type the Dead Sea. Premiere Pro adds a new graphic clip to the sequence in the timeline panel on the next available video track. In this case, it is video 2. The settings you last used are applied to new titles when you create them. If you clicked the white clouds in the background image before typing, it might be difficult to read the text. Try changing the background video frame by dragging the timeline playhead. Choose the background frame carefully when designing a title. Because video moves, you may find a title works at the start of a clip, but not at the end. Select the Selection tool by clicking it in the Tools panel. You won't be able to use a keyboard shortcut for the Selection tool because you are typing into a text bounding box. Handles appear on the text bounding box. Choose the following settings in the Essential Graphics panel. Font, Arial Bold. Font size, 83. Tracking, 0. Kerning, 0. Leading, 0. Fill color, white. In the Appearance options, enable the fill only. Deselect stroke, background, and shadow. Try to match the example given here. Use the Selection tool to drag the corners and edges of the text bounding box. Notice that the font size, width, and height settings do not change. Instead, the scale setting is adjusted. By default, the height and width maintain the same relative scale. You can adjust the height and width separately by clicking Set Scale Lock. Set Scale back to 100% and make sure Set Scale Lock is selected. Hover the pointer just outside a corner of the text box until a curved pointer appears. This allows you to rotate the text box. Drag to rotate the bounding box off its horizontal orientation. The anchor point is the point around which objects will rotate and the single point that is referenced by position controls. When you adjust position settings, the position applies specifically to the anchor point, which itself has a position on the object. For many items, it is the exact center of the object, which makes sense, particularly when rotating. This is not the case with text objects. The default location of the anchor point for this left-aligned text is the lower left corner of the text, not the box around the text. When you rotate the text, it does not pivot around the center, but instead around that corner. With this Selection tool still active, click the blue number for the rotation setting in the Essential Graphics panel. Type 45 and press Enter or Return to manually set the angle to 45 degrees. Click anywhere in the bounding box and drag the text and its bounding box toward the upper right corner of the frame. Disable the Video 1 track output by clicking the Toggle Track Output button in the timeline panel. Open the Program Monitor settings and choose Transparency Grid to enable it. Now you can see the graphic against a transparency checkerboard, but it's almost impossible to read. Make sure the text is selected, go to the Appearance section of the Essential Graphics panel, and select the Stroke option to add an outline to the letters. Set the color to black and set stroke width to 7. Now it is easy to see the text and you can be confident it will remain readable against a range of background colors.